The Declaration. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of the Harmony Station, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath her. The blue-green planet seemed peaceful from this distance, its cities twinkling like stars as night swept across continents. She sipped her coffee, real coffee, not the synthesized stuff, savoring the bitter warmth as her mind wandered through diplomatic strategies for the upcoming Galactic Council meeting. Captain, her AI-assisted Athena's voice interrupted her thoughts. Priority transmission from the Taurillian Empire. Ambassador Vextar is requesting immediate audience. Elena raised an eyebrow. The Taurillians rarely requested immediate anything. Their species, with their crystalline exoskeletons and methodical nature, typically scheduled communications weeks in advance. Put him through, main screen, she said, straightening her Navy uniform with its simple silver earth insignia, deliberately understated compared to the ornate regalia of other species. The screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Ambassador Vextar. Even through the holographic projection, his crystalline body glimmered with the colors of his high rank, deep purples and blues that shifted with each movement. His forearms were positioned in formal stance, upper pair crossed, lower pair at his sides. Ambassador, Elena greeted with a respectful nod. This is unexpected. Captain Reyes, Vextar's voice resonated with an artificial harmony as his translator converted his natural frequencies into human speech. I come bearing a formal declaration from the high crystalline monarchy of Cerelia. Elena maintained her diplomatic composure, though her pulse quickened. I'm listening. The 3,000-year peace between our civilizations is hereby terminated. The ambassador's colors shifted to aggressive reds. Your species has violated the terms of the Treaty of Rigel by expanding into the Epsilon sector, designated as neutral space. Furthermore, your recent technological advancements exceed the limitations outlined in the Technological Development Clause. Elena took another sip of coffee, an action so casual it visibly disturbed the ambassador, whose colors flickered in confusion. I see, she said finally, and the Council's position on this unilateral dissolution of peace. The Council has been informed, Vextar replied, his tone suggesting this was merely a courtesy. This is a matter between humans and Taurillians. Elena exchanged a glance with Athena, whose holographic avatar appeared beside her. A small, glowing blue sphere that pulsed once in confirmation that everything was being recorded and analyzed. For 3 millennia, humanity had maintained the appearance of a moderately advanced species, carefully limiting what technologies they revealed to the galactic community. Behind this facade, Earth and its colonies had been evolving, building, and preparing. The Taurillians, with their rigid hierarchical society, had never accepted that humans, beings they considered physically inferior, could be their equals. They had merely tolerated humanity while waiting for this very opportunity. And you expect our surrender? Elena asked, her voice level. It would be the logical choice. Vextar's colors shifted to a smug violet. Our armada outnumbers your known fleet 20-1. Your defenses are obsolete by our standards. Your colonies are vulnerable. I see, Elena said, setting down her coffee cup with deliberate slowness. Athena, please activate Protocol Lazarus. Authentication. Rise Omega 79 Delta. The AI pulsed a bright blue. Protocol Lazarus activated. Defense grid acknowledging across Earth and all colonies. Across the screen, Ambassador Vextar's crystalline structure vibrated in what humans had learned was equivalent to confusion. What is this protocol? He demanded. Elena smiled, the expression never reaching her eyes. Just our response to your declaration, Ambassador. We accept. The words hung in the space between them, simple and devastating. Not a plea for more time, not a desperate counteroffer, just acceptance. You accept. Vextar's colors swirled in patterns indicating disbelief. That is correct, Elena confirmed. Humanity accepts your declaration of war. As the words left her mouth, a notification appeared on every communication device, linked to human networks across the galaxy. Protagonists are active, remain calm, continue normal activities across human space, from the crowded arcologies of Earth to the newest settlements on Proxima Centauri. The message spread, and with it came not panic, not fear, but laughter. It started as chuckles in the coffee shops of Mars, grew to giggles in the research stations of Europa, and blossomed into full-belly laughs in the mining colonies of the asteroid belt. On a small farming colony at the edge of human space, a mother read the notification to her children as they sat down for dinner. "Are we in danger, Mom?" her daughter asked, eyes wide. The woman smiled, ruffling the child's hair. "No, sweetie. This is what we've been waiting for. The day we can finally be ourselves." In universities and research centers, professors paused their lectures as students received the notification. In the quantum physics lab at New Oxford, the lead scientist closed her holobook and said simply, "It seems today's theoretical discussion about dimensional engineering will become rather practical sooner than expected." The class erupted in knowing laughter. Back on Harmony Station, Ambassador Vextar was growing agitated, his crystalline body emitting high-pitched frequencies of distress. "Your arrogance will be your downfall," he threatened, his colors now a deep, angry red. "The Xorilian Armada will crush your colonies one by one until Earth itself kneels before the Crystal Throne." "Perhaps," Alina replied calmly, "but I doubt it." She signaled Athena to prepare a formal response for transmission to Xorilia. "We will be ready to receive your forces when they arrive, Ambassador. Until then, I wish you safe travels among the stars." With that, she ended the transmission. As the screen went dark, Alina turned to Athena. "How long until the Xorilian fleet reaches Sol's system?" "Based on their known propulsion technology, approximately 7 Earth days," the AI responded, "though our deep space sensors indicate they may have upgraded to gravitic drives, which would reduce travel time to 3 days. Alina nodded, returning to the observation window to gaze at Earth. "Send word to Admiral Chen. It's time to wake the fleet." The next 3 days passed in a bizarre state of normalcy across human space, while alien civilizations frantically prepared for what they assumed would be a quick subjugation of humanity. Humans themselves continued their daily lives with an air of calm anticipation. On the morning of the 3rd day, the massive Xorilian flagship Crystal Dominance cut through space at the head of the largest battle fleet assembled in 5 centuries. 1,000 ships strong, their hulls gleaming with living crystal that absorbed and redirected light in hypnotic patterns, they emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. Admiral Kraz stood on the command deck, his crystalline form towering over the crew of lesser Xorilians who hurried about their duties. His body, adorned with the royal purple markings of his high rank, refracted the soft blue light of the tactical displays surrounding him. "Status report," he ordered, his natural frequencies translated into standard command language for the crew. "All ships have successfully emerged from FTL." Admiral reported his second-in-command. "No detection of human defensive measures. Their orbital platforms appear inactive. We detect only a small number of outdated military vessels in orbit around their 4th planet." Kraz studied the tactical display. The intelligence reports had been correct. Despite 3 days' warning, the humans had made no significant defensive preparations. Their homeworld, the blue-green planet called Earth, should be visible just ahead, a prime target for the first demonstration of Xorilian might. "Proceed as planned," Kraz ordered. "Move the fleet into position around the human homeworld. Prepare the orbital bombardment sequence." The great ships moved forward in perfect formation, their engines leaving trails of ionized particles as they accelerated toward where Earth should be. "Admiral," called the sensor officer, his crystalline form vibrating with confusion. "I'm getting strange readings from the 3rd orbital position." "Explain," Kraz demanded. "The planet. It's not there." Kraz's body stiffened, the crystalline segments locking together in shock. What nonsense is this? Check your equipment. All systems functioning correctly, Admiral, the officer insisted, his colors fluctuating with nervousness. The moon is present and orbiting as expected, but the planet itself is gone. Kraz strode to the main view screen, the sound of his crystalline legs clicking against the polished floor. The screen showed exactly what the sensors reported. Empty space where Earth should be, with the moon continuing its lonely orbit around a missing center. Impossible, Kraz muttered, his body emitting frequencies of agitation. A planet cannot simply vanish. He turned to his science officer. Scan the entire system. They must have deployed some sort of cloaking technology. The science officer worked frantically at his console. No evidence of cloaking technology, Admiral. No gravitational signature where the planet should be. By all measurements, Earth has simply disappeared. A heavy silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's systems. The Taurillian military had prepared for many possible human defenses, primitive energy shields perhaps, or desperate suicide attacks. But not this. Never this. Could our intelligence have been so wrong? Kraz wondered aloud. Could they have evacuated their entire planet? Before anyone could respond, every console on the bridge lit up with warning indicators. Admiral, the tactical officer called out. We're being scanned by an unknown energy signature. It's penetrating all our shields as if they weren't there. Kraz's crystalline fingers tightened on the railing before him. Activate countermeasures. Raise all defensive. His words died as a swirl of light appeared in the center of the bridge. The light expanded, forming into the holographic image of a human female. Unlike the crude holograms used throughout the galaxy, this projection appeared solid, with perfect detail from the small lines around her eyes to the subtle movement of her clothing. The human wore a simple dark uniform with a silver Earth insignia. She looked around the bridge with an expression of interest, as if examining specimens in a laboratory. "Welcome to the Sol system," she said cheerfully, her voice as clear as if she were physically present. "I see you're looking for Earth. I'm afraid we've moved it." The revelation. Admiral Kraz's crystalline body emitted frequencies of disbelief. Moved a planet. The words sounded ridiculous even as he spoke them. No civilization in the known galaxy had the technology to relocate an entire planet. The human woman smiled, that peculiar expression that Taurillians had never fully understood. "Just a precaution. We've been expecting you for quite some time." Kraz regained his composure, his body shifting to dominant colors. "I am Admiral Kraz of the Taurillian Empire. Your deception will not save you. Return your planet to its proper place and surrender, and perhaps some of your species will be spared." The woman's expression didn't change. "I am Fleet Admiral Maya Chen, Earth Defense Force." She gestured casually around her. "By the way, those unusual energy readings your sensors are detecting around your fleet, that's our gravitational containment field. You're currently suspended in a time dilation bubble." As if to prove her point, she gestured toward the bridge window. Outside, the stars seemed frozen, their light unnaturally steady. A small piece of debris that had been floating past hung motionless in space. "While this conversation takes place in real time for us," Chen continued, "for the rest of the galaxy, approximately 3 seconds have passed since your arrival." Kraz felt his crystalline core vibrate with an instinctive fear he had never experienced in battle. This is impossible. Such technology violates fundamental laws of physics. Chen tilted her head slightly. "According to whose physics, Admiral?" "The understanding shared by the Galactic Council." She made a dismissive gesture. "That's like judging all mathematics based on what's taught to children." A junior officer approached Kraz, his movements hesitant. "Admiral, sensors confirm her claim. We appear to be in some sort of temporal bubble. And there's more." "Report," Kraz demanded, not taking his eyes off the human hologram. "Small devices have appeared throughout the ship. They're scanning our systems, but our countermeasures have no effect on them." Chen nodded. "Just gathering some data." Don't mind those. Kraz's patience broke. Enough of these tricks. Where is your planet? What defense can you possibly mount against 1,000 warships? Chen's expression became more serious. Admiral Kraz, I'm going to be direct. Humanity has spent 3,000 years preparing for this moment. What you're witnessing is just the beginning of what we can do. The question isn't whether you can defeat us. The question is whether we can find a peaceful resolution before things get unpleasant. Kraz's tactical officer called out, Admiral, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the human moon. On the main screen, the seemingly barren moon's surface was changing. Sections were sliding open, revealing massive structures beneath. Lights flickered across its surface as dormant systems awakened. That would be our lunar defense platform, Chen explained casually. One of our older installations, actually. We kept it as a backup. The science officer's voice shook as he reported, The energy readings are beyond anything in our records, Admiral. If those are weapons. Chen raised her hand. We don't have to demonstrate, Admiral. Not today. Take your fleet and return to Xorilian space. Tell your leaders what you've seen. Tell them Earth is willing to negotiate a new peace. As equals this time. Kraz stood silent, his mind racing through possibilities, none of them favorable. The human smiled again, seeming to read his thoughts. Or stay, she said softly, and learn firsthand why humans laughed when you declared war. 6 hours later, Admiral Kraz sat alone in his private chamber aboard the Xorilian flagship. The room was dark except for the blue glow of multiple screens floating in the air before him. His 4 crystalline hands moved rapidly over the controls, cycling through the data that the mysterious human devices had uploaded to his ship's computer. He had ordered the fleet to maintain position while he reviewed the information. With each new file, each new revelation, the cold feeling in his core grew stronger. The first files showed weapon systems unlike anything the Xorilians had imagined, not simply more powerful versions of known technology, but entirely new approaches to warfare. Kraz watched footage of a small human vessel absorbing the energy from a test blast that should have vaporized a small moon. The energy simply disappeared into the ship's hull, which glowed briefly before returning to normal. Another file showed a demonstration of their shield technology, not the energy barriers all advanced races used, but something the humans called dimensional folding. Incoming attacks didn't hit a barrier. They simply disappeared into what appeared to be small tears in space itself, emerging somewhere else entirely. Impossible, Kraz whispered, his body resonating with distress. He moved to communications data. The humans had developed quantum entanglement networks that operated instantly across any distance without any possibility of interception or jamming. The Xorilians' most advanced communication systems, pride of their military, were primitive by comparison. But what truly shook him were the energy production files. The humans had built Dyson swarms, vast networks of satellites capturing the entire energy output of stars around multiple suns in hidden systems. The energy available to them made the combined output of the entire Xorilian empire look like a child's power cell. Kraz's first officer entered the chamber after a respectful chime. Admiral, the fleet commanders are requesting instructions. The crew is becoming unsettled. Kraz gestured to the screens. Have you reviewed this data? Yes, Admiral. The science division believes it must be fabricated. Such technology violates too many known physical laws. Kraz's body emitted frequencies of annoyance. It is not fabricated. They moved a planet, Commander. They stopped time around our fleet. These are not tricks. His officer's colors dimmed submissively but persisted. Even if some of it is real, surely not all of it can be. The biological modifications they claim to have made. Show me your arm, Kraz interrupted. Confused, the officer extended his upper right arm. Kraz pressed a control, and one of the small scanning devices that the humans had placed on the ship hovered over to them. It emitted a soft blue light that passed over the officer's arm. A new screen appeared, showing a detailed internal view of the limb. But it showed more than just the expected crystalline structures. Tiny machines were visible, moving through the officer's internal pathways. "What is this?" the officer asked, his voice rising in alarm. "According to the human data, they are medical nanobots. Millions of them, introduced into our systems when we entered the time dilation field. They are currently dormant, simply mapping our biology." The officer staggered back. "They're inside all of us." "Yes. And according to this," Kraz gestured to another screen showing the human body with similar machines visible throughout. "They have lived with such technology for centuries. Their bodies repair themselves. They don't age as we do. Disease is unknown to them." Before the officer could respond, the main communication console chimed. The small scanning device returned to its position near the ceiling. "Admiral," the communications officer's voice came through. "We're receiving a new transmission from the humans." "Display it," Kraz ordered. The information screens vanish, replaced by a single larger image. An older human appeared, a male with gray hair and lined face, though his posture remained straight and his eyes sharp with intelligence. "Admiral Kraz, I am General Thomas Marcus, Earth Defense Coordinator. I hope you've had sufficient time to review the information we provided." Kraz straightened his posture, determined to maintain dignity despite his growing dread. "I have reviewed it. Much of it defies belief. Yet you've seen enough to know it's not deception," Marcus replied. "Admiral, 3,000 years ago, when the Xyrillian Empire first encountered humanity, you judged us as primitive. You offered us protection in exchange for resources and limitations on our development. We accepted those terms because we needed time." "Time for what?" Kraz asked, though he feared he already knew the answer. "To learn, to grow, to prepare." Marcus's expression was solemn. "While we maintained the appearance of compliance with your technological restrictions, we were developing in ways your scientists never imagined possible. We kept our true capabilities hidden because we knew this day would come, the day when Xyrilia decided we had outgrown our usefulness." Kraz's body emitted frequencies of resignation. "What happens now?" "That depends on you. Admiral, you have two choices. You can return to Xyrilia and inform your leaders that war with Earth would be inadvisable, that we are prepared to negotiate a new relationship as equals, or, Kraz prompted when the human paused, "or we can demonstrate why humanity greeted your declaration of war with laughter." Kraz was silent for a long moment, his crystalline mind processing everything he had learned. Finally, his body shifted to the colors of formal acknowledgement. "I will return to Xyrilia with your message, General Marcus. But my leaders may not accept this new reality so easily." Marcus nodded. "We understand. That's why Earth will remain relocated until we've established new terms. As a gesture of good faith, however, we will release your fleet from the time dilation field and provide you with a small demonstration of our technology, something you can take back to your leaders as proof." "What demonstration?" Kraz asked warily. Marcus smiled. "Look to your long-range sensors. Mars is about to change." The transmission ended, and Kraz immediately ordered the main view screen to show the red planet. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, before the astonished eyes of the Xyrillian crew, the surface of Mars began to shimmer. Colors spread across the red landscape, blues and greens appearing where none had existed before. "What are we seeing?" Kraz demanded. The science officer's voice trembled. "They're terraforming the planet, Admiral, in real time. Atmospheric composition is changing. Temperature is rising. Water is appearing on the surface. Within minutes, what had been a rusty desert world was transforming into a living planet." "Impossible," one of the bridge officers whispered. "Such a process should take centuries." Kraz watched in silence as the implications became clear. If humans could transform a planet in minutes, what else could they do? The answer was in those data files, hundreds of technologies that the Xyrillians had never imagined possible. "Set course for Xyrilia," he ordered quietly. Maximum speed. As the fleet prepared to depart, a final message appeared on Kraz's personal console. We look forward to a new era of peace between our civilizations, Admiral Kraz. Next time, perhaps you can visit Earth at its new location. The view is quite spectacular. Kraz stared at the message for a long moment before his body shifted to the colors of wry acceptance. Then, for the first time in his long military career, he did something very un-Exorilian. He laughed.